Well, good morning, adventurers. This is Elvis Boy with another episode of Into the Sunset. If you like what you see today, please subscribe to my channel. Today we are in Williams, Arizona, and we're going to go visit a very cool place right here on historic Route 66 called Cars of the Mother Road. You're going to like this place. We're going to get to do something real special. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. All right, we're here at Cars of the Mother Road in Williams, Arizona, and we're here with the owner. And what's your name, sir?
Name is Marshall.
Marshall, that's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Cool place you have here.
Thank you.
So how long have you been in business?
Actually, we just started this a couple of weeks ago. And we tried to recreate that old vintage gas station trading post look. And so, yeah, we got the old vintage cars and some collectibles and a few oddities here and there.
Yeah, what a cool place. And you said something about this being the longest stretch of Route 66?
Yeah, this stretch in Williams, Arizona is the longest stretch of the Mother Road that has as many attractions and restaurants, about 35 restaurants in like a 1.5 mile loop. And a lot of the buildings are being restored and put back together. What really influenced that was the movie Cars, the animated movie by Disney, Cars.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that, how some of the old vintage Route 66 buildings, they kind of look like they are from the movie Cars.
Yeah, it kind of created this resurgence of people wanting to get back on Route 66 and see the preservation of a little nostalgia. So we tried to deliver on that.
Oh, very cool. And what do you guys do here? As far as you have a store?
Yeah, we have a souvenir gift shop here, but primarily I love vintage cars, and I wanted to share my cars with people and give them rides in an old 29 Roadster.
So people can actually come here and take a ride in one of these beautiful old cars.
It's the only place I know of in the entire Mother Road from Chicago to Santa Monica that you can actually come, touch, feel the cars, and get a ride in one.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your address here so people can come find you?
Okay, it's 341. I have to look. Yeah, 341 West Route 66 in the historic town of downtown Williams, Arizona.
341 Route 66 in historic Williams, Arizona. Come on by here. It's such a cool place. Well, I just found out that Marshall's going to take us for a ride in one of his vintage vehicles, specifically that one over there. And I'm excited because I've never ridden in an old car before. How exciting. Well, this is exciting. We're going to get to take a ride in this classic car. And what exactly is this car?
This is a 1929 Ford Roadster.
1929 Ford Roadster.
Put your head on in.
All right, and there's blades
some extra leg room back here, but it's all right.
You go head first, then swing your keister in there. All right.
All right, we're gonna go head first, swing my keister.
Whole body as much as you can. Nice. Very cool.
Nice.
Okay, so like I said, you are in a 1929 Ford Roadster. This was not your average man's car right here. That would have been right over there, that black Model T. And they called those a Tin Lizzie. During its day, that would have sold for about $569. A car like this, you had to have means. This would have been more of like the Great Gatsby kind of a car.
Luxury car.
Yeah, this would have been a super deluxe right here. Because it has the rumble seat, it has the convertible top, and it just looks flashy, you know?
It does.
Yeah. So you had to have some money to make this car happen back in the day. Let's see if she starts. A little sensitive, you know? Oh, we got it in the first time.
Nice.
Very nice. The old Ugo horn was kind of neat.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, right. If we don't come back, look in the big hole, the Grand Canyon.
Nice.
All right. So, the turn of the century, back in the 20s, you know, these cars were what pretty much littered the roadway. you had to grease them up quite a bit because the roads weren't exactly smooth, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
They were very, very rough because they were just transitioning pretty much from the horse and buggy, and you see that wagon right there. That was kind of the mode of transportation until Ford really changed life in America forever. And I'm glad he did.
Amen.
All right, now let me tell you a little bit about the town. We are driving down Route 66, the Mother Road. And this particular stretch happens to be the largest stretch where you have as many attractions. Like, you got about 35 restaurants, the equivalent amount of hotels. So everyone comes here. As I was saying before, the little animated movie Cars really helped bring this town back to life. It's always been sort of a boom bust town. It's gone through. You're gonna feel like you're in a parade when you're riding in this car. Everybody loves to see it. So, and we're the only business along this whole Mother Road from Chicago to California, Santa Monica, that offers rides in a vintage car. So we're really thrilled about that.
This is exciting.
Thank you. Now, this town at the turn of the century was an old logging camp. So they harvested all the ponderosa pines in the area. And this happens to be one of the largest ponderosa groves in northern Arizona. So all you had here were pretty much bars and brothels, because that's what attracted the men more than anything. This stretch was considered Front Street. On the other side, which we'll take on the way back, is Back Street. And that's where all the red light district was.
Uh-oh.
So it also had a very large Chinese population.
Oh.
And the reason they did was because the Chinamen were helping build the railroad. They were doing the laundry and also providing food for the men. And there was another thing that most people don't know, is that the Chinamen were also distributing opium.
Oh.
So it was a place where they had opium dens. There was underground tunnels that connected several saloons and brothels. And they still exist, but they've caved in. People don't go in them. But it's kind of one of those things that people aren't really sure of. I happened to meet a man the other day whose father surveyed Williams in 1880. And I asked him about the tunnels. He said, yep, they were here and they were opium dens. So that's kind of one of those things you kind of go, wow, back in 1880, they were still dealing with that. So Williams was almost like the black sheep of the family in Arizona. It was kind of like the Vegas of its time. Families didn't want to come here because they said, this is a wild town. You know, there's gambling, prostitution, drugs. Don't go to Williams. In fact, at some of the earlier maps, you couldn't even find Williams. They didn't put it on.
El Rancho Hope Motel. Interesting.
And then you have Miss Kitty's right behind us, which is a nice steakhouse. You want to get a good meal. So let me tell you what's happening now. I gave you a little history on where it's been. A lot of companies are coming to Williams and saying, you know what, this has a bright future. What you see here is they're excavating for an adventure park. They're going to be installing a dry toboggan and inner tube run. And I've been on one in Colorado, and it's like a synthetic turf that you are able to slide down on. The toboggans are plastic, so they go down that swiftly, and then the inner tubes, they put like a shade cloth on it, bungee corded, and you can slide down. They're targeting opening that Thanksgiving this year in November.
Wow, this is so neat. I could see this as a great stopping off point for everybody going to the Grand Canyon too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What better vacation? Take a visit to Williams, take the train to the canyon.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And back in '84, when the interstate bypassed the town almost died completely because there was no reason to stop here anymore. It lost all its trucking industry because the streets, as I was talking to you before, were pretty much littered with big trucks and semis that were coming through. And it was kind of a love-hate with the town because the trucks were very unsightly and they were creating road hazards, big potholes, and it just didn't look attractive. So when the interstate bypassed it, the town didn't think it was going to survive, because it turns out that the truckers were really supporting the town in so many ways. They were eating, sleeping, and gassing up, and on they went. And that was cut off. So they had to kind of reinvent themselves. And they did a really pretty neat thing when they, on the railway, you could get on the train, and then halfway down, they would have guys in cowboy outfit, regalia, horses. They would stop the train, rob it, and then, you know, they kind of play with the tourists and have a good time. So it created this, it kind of went viral, that before viral was even a term. So people from Europe and China and Japan, they wanted to come see the Wild West again. And it was alive and well here in Williams. They do a gunfight daily here. So they deliver on that. And I dress like this too. My name is Marshall, so it kind of fit. I'm the marshal of my little corner over there.
You even got the boots.
Exactly. That's right. And so it's fun to, you know, pose for the customers and give them a little taste of that history preserved right here. Now remember, I told you this is Backstreet and the brothels right here. You'll see a lady of the night right there hanging out the window. That's how she made her living, enticing the men and trying to, you know, earn a buck or two.
We're kind of the Backstreet Boys right now.
That's right. Right on the corner here was a place called McGillicuddy's, and it was the local saloon. And if you were a logger at the time, and you know, you didn't have that much left, you had a buck left maybe, and you had a choice, a good time or another shot of whiskey, you often took the whiskey, because even the cowboy next to you looked good after a few shots.
Oh my.
Yep. We have a recreation center here that the kids can come and do things. Olympic-sized swimming pool right there. So in the winter, you can come and take a plunge. So the town is changing now. We kind of have what I call a westward movement happening, meaning a lot of people from the west are moving, looking for that small town Americana that is preserved here. It's a pretty safe town, not too much crime. And so you're getting a lot of retired folk coming and looking for a business and a place to retire in. Mm-hmm. And this happens to fit the bill because you can walk everywhere without any trouble. All right, let's see if I can find mine here. And here we are. Right now, it's changing so quickly. They say that 1 in 3 homes in Williams is now being converted into an Airbnb. So that's kind of neat.
Made it back.
And there's my manager of the store right there.
Hello.
And there you go. Any questions?
Oh, this has been such a treat. I gotta tell you, I have never ridden in a car like this in my life, and I feel like I've been transported back to the past.
All right.
Yeah, so come on down to Williams, Arizona, and Cars of the Mother Road.
That's right.
And this is Marshall right here. He's the marshal of the town. And come visit him. Come visit this town. It's a great place to be. And I tell you, this is Elvis Boy for Into the Sunset. Embrace the positive things, release the negative things. Get out there and have some joy, because life is too short for anything but joy. And we'll see you next time.